basically connecting the Diag to Monroe Street this year. So it's going to be awesome. Vending all up and down Tapan. And our 3 to 5 year plan is definitely to reestablish Hash Bash around the Diag with vending around on all 4 sides, South U and North U, and up and down Tappan that we already have. So we're just looking to grow it. And this year we have John Sinclair back.
Yeah, John Sinclair.
John Sinclair back from 2010, and I don't know if anybody want to tell a story about John Sinclair, but hopefully everybody knows a little bit of a story about John Sinclair. If you know about the Hash Bash, you should know a little story about John Sinclair. Pardon?
John's awesome.
Yeah.
He is pretty awesome.
Oh, John Sinclair is awesome, and he's a fan of the fair, definitely. As I heard him on a recent radio interview say, I'm paraphrasing now, you can hear the exact words on Richard's Tap Detroit radio interview with John Sinclair of about 2 weeks ago. John says about the Hash Bash, he gets over to the Hash Bash, does what he's got to do, and then gets on over to Monroe Street Fair, because at Hash Bash he already knows all about marijuana, and a lot of us do. So we go over to Monroe Street to smoke marijuana. So there's the 2 differences, is finding out about marijuana and going and smoking marijuana.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing we like to do.
There is a lot of marijuana that is smoked at Monroe Street Fair. I mean, it's quite a bit, Charlie.
Undeniable. Undeniable. If you look at all the pictures on my website, everybody's got a smile on their face. Everybody's loving it.
Yep.
And I take a lot of personal pride in that. I have to take a second and say hi to my girlfriend, Annette Nene, who's at home at her mother's house recovering from a foot surgery. I love her very much, and I know everybody here is really fond of her. Annette, wish you could be here and heal up. Yeah.
Heal up, Annette.
Heal up, baby. All right.
Yeah,
But Monroe Street Fair is growing a lot. And
we took Ryan to the fair several times, and I remember when he was younger, and we went after speaking at Hash Bash. Some people didn't think it was too cool. We got talked to by quite a few people at the fair. That having our son at Hash Bash was
they had an opinion.
You had Anna.
Oh yeah, they had an opinion. We were with Steve and Maria Green, and they had Bree with them, and
you brought Anna last year or year before.
Yeah, we've taken Anna.
There, so,
we love going to the fair.
It's fun.
It's great.
The kids love it.
Me, did we ask you?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. When did you become my child's parent? Right.
That's right. Yeah. But it's a great time, and thanks for doing it, Charlie. It's a really wonderful event, and it's great to always see all the faces that we don't always get to see every day or every week.
Thank you. That's what I'm so proud of, is that everybody loves the event. I read the reviews on Facebook, and it continues to blow my mind. Yeah. If you go on Facebook, you could read any of the reviews, and it's people's favorite event of the year. They look forward to seeing all of their friends from all over the state, and it really is quite remarkable. I just sit there in awe that I'm able to be part of something that's just a lot bigger than I am.
Oh, yeah.
And people depend on it and count on it, and I feel the weight of that sometimes.
Yeah, I think
awesome.
It's probably the biggest event of the year.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm told it's a big money maker.
My favorite part is the opening national anthem. With everybody just that is just we're smoking and.
It's awesome.
It's just that is just such it's such a
and freezing their
moment
asses off
of synergistic connection. It's amazing. It really is. That's my favorite part.
It's the it's like a different version of America.
Yes.
It really is an alternative.
It is.
I'm saying, like, see the flag, and it is. I'm always moved by that too. There's a certain
there is
dynamic of the, but it's unifying.
Yeah.
Speaking of noon and starting the Hash Bash at Monroe Street Fair, we have something at 4:20, another significant time for cannabis, high noon and 4:20 time. So this year we're going to do another 4:20 countdown where we bring everybody together to smoke at the same time. Nice ceremonial thing here. This is going to be the hugest legalization victory party ever in Michigan. Right. Come on out and be part of this. It's going to be huge, like none other. It's going to be huge. We've got a lot to celebrate. Huge cannabis victory party. So come on out.
Yep, I'll be honest. It'll be difficult for me not to cry during this year's national anthem. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a really moving experience.
All eyes on Eric.
That's right. I'll have a camera on him for sure. We're going Facebook Live.
Can anyone play the national
Tears just rolling
anthem
down,
like Leith does?
No.
Is he
No.
playing this
Does Leith
year?
have to be? I don't know.
I heard he is. I heard he is playing this.
Should be.
I hope he does because I love his
He's
guitar.
been awesome.
he's so awesome.
He's good.
Yep.
I love it. First time I ever heard him play the national anthem on his guitar, it just melted my soul.
Maybe I'll ask Billy Davis, legendary blues guitarist and Hall of Fame guitarist, Billy Davis.
Wow.
He's an incredible blues guitarist. He's the real deal. And he's going to be at the fair. He'll be playing around 3 or 4 o'clock.
Wow.
But that'll be something. I think a lot of people will be very entertained by Billy Davis. He's also Doo-Wop Hall of Fame. So Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Doo-Wop Hall of
Eric's
Fame.
aspiring Doo-Wop Hall of Fame.
And I'd bet he'd do a great rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. Quick backstory about Billy Davis is Jimi Hendrix and his dad were at one of Billy Davis's shows years and years ago, and they were so entertained, like a lot of people, that somehow Jimi Hendrix's father knew Billy Davis, and the story is that Billy Davis put his guitar in Jimmy's hands because Jimmy wanted to play. He was so interested in guitar. And so Jimmy's first guitar was from Billy Davis, and his first lessons were from Billy Davis. And the story I heard that comes out is the guitar picking with the teeth. That was from Billy Davis, inspired by Billy Davis too. So come on out and see Billy Davis. It's going to be an incredible show.
Sounds cool.
Like I said, he's the real deal. So
Awesome.
it's going to be fun. Yeah.
Well, listen, we're running out of time, and we'll come back in a second. If we don't get Rick in here, he will not. He'll feel as if his news preparation
Rick
are you
was
ready
not.
for the news?
See.
All right, he's ready.
We do not want to
coming.
keep.
Where's his intro? Cue up the intro.
I'm out of position, but I will. My intro goes like this. We're very excited to introduce the one and only, and the master of the news here at Planet Green Trees. Please welcome Big Daddy Rick Thompson.
Oh, gotta get my stuff ready.
It's unprepared, Rick Thompson.
I had to step away from the microphone. Hang on.
It's a conference
Do that
call.
introduction one more time now that I'm ready, please, Mr. Kimura.
Take 2 and action.
We are so happy at this very moment to have coming to the microphone to report on all of Michigan's news that's important, the one and only Big Daddy, Rick Thompson.
All right. Thank you very much. I am Rick Thompson, not Big Daddy. This is the Cannabis News. Let's get to it. Everybody ready? Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has signed an executive order eliminating the state's medical cannabis licensing board.
Fuck you, Don Bailey.
The volunteer board has been tasked with coordinating license applications, but it struggled to keep pace, causing the state's medical cannabis program to fall behind projected growth rates. It's also been the subject of criticism for inconsistent licensing decisions. Governor Whitmer said this executive order will eliminate inefficiencies that have made it difficult to meet the needs of Michigan's medical marijuana patients. State legislature has the power to veto the governor's order, but she's a smart lady. She spoke to the state congressional leadership before issuing the order. Licenses will now be handled by a subdepartment of Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, the Marijuana Regulatory Agency. When the state's adult use program comes online, it will also fall under this department. Licensing shortfalls for medical cannabis have been handled by allowing unlicensed businesses to continue operating, though that leniency period ends March 31st. Oh, how about some news from out of state? Alaska. Alaska moved closer to allowing on-site consumption of cannabis at specially authorized stores, a move that could generate $2.4 million in new revenue, according to an informal industry analysis. Please pay attention, state of Michigan. The state's Department of Law found no legal problems with the rules approved by marijuana regulators in December that will govern where and how on-site consumption takes place. Rules were recently sent to Lieutenant Governor Kevin Meyer, whose signature is required for the rules to be filed. Regulations could become effective 30 days after filing. Some in the industry predict it's possible the first on-site use areas could be approved by this summer. You think we got it bad here? Let's talk about Los Angeles. A Los Angeles City Council committee advanced a proposed ordinance to shut off the water and power at unlicensed marijuana shops.
Boom!
Another attempt to crack down on LA's still thriving illicit cannabis market. That's tough stuff, man. If the measure becomes law as expected by industry observers, the new ordinance would empower the city's Department of Water and Power to disconnect both electricity and water utilities at locations that have been identified as unlicensed MJ shops by both the LA Department of Cannabis Regulation and either the police department or another city agency. That's harsh. LA has 185 licensed marijuana retailers, according to the DCR, and is in the process of issuing more business permits to cannabis companies. But unlicensed shops have been a thorn in the city's side for years, despite repeated attempts by officials to stamp them out, with hundreds still operating without permits. How about Michigan again? Michigan's medical marijuana market growing beyond expectations, generating more than, wait for it, $42 million in sales since the first dispensaries opened on November 1st. That first month of operation, when only a few licensed dispensaries were open, $7.1 million in cannabis sales were recorded. By February, a frigidly cold month with 3 fewer days than January, we were up to 11.2, and in January it was $11.9 million. Total for the first 4 months, $42,061,557. Boy, that's a precise figure. In those 4 months, 8,670 pounds of marijuana were sold at a median retail cost for customers of $213.91 per ounce, which is actually very competitive. And that translates into more than $2.3 million sent to the state from the 6% sales tax and $1.2 million from the 3% excise tax. David Harns, spokesman for Lara, noted with more than 294,000 medical marijuana cardholders, Michigan, second largest medical marijuana market in the nation. And that number is fairly extraordinary since the state has only 54 licensed medical marijuana dispensaries, and many of those only open for a relatively short amount of time. Oh, but you know what? They're creating some rules we may not like. After pushing several deadlines for unlicensed medical marijuana businesses to get a license or shut down, the state said Wednesday it plans to enforce the current March 31st drop-dead date. About 50 unlicensed dispensaries still temporarily operating in the state under a set of rules developed by the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs to ensure the state's 294,000 cardholders we just talked about has access to the products. That number dropped from 215 late last year as some of the dispensaries either got a license or decided to withdraw their applications. All unlicensed dispensaries will be getting cease and desist letters from Licensing and Regulatory Affairs in early April, a nice Christmas present, telling them they can't operate without a license. State's been trying to shut down these temporary operators in order to more quickly establish a fully regulated and taxed marijuana market in Michigan, but Lara's also trying to balance the needs of medical marijuana patients who need access to products with a desire to encourage licensed marijuana businesses. And of course, the licensing board initially set September 15, 2018 as the deadline for the dispensaries to get a license or shut down. Then there was a court of claims thing, and it was October 31st, and then there was a December 31st, and then it was back to March 31st. It's been very confusing. Final story. Forget wake and bake. Michigan residents prefer to smoke after dark. That's according to a recent numbers crunch conducted by the cannabis site dankgeek.com, which uses trends software and geotagged Twitter data to determine what time of day each state smokes marijuana the most. Odd. More than 100,000 tweets about using marijuana were tracked over the course of the last month, specifically the time each of the tweets was written. According to the data, average Michigan weed smoker lights up at 9:40 p.m., which some of us may have actually done while we were here at 9:40 p.m. And while the evening time slot would seem somewhat common, some are even later. Some states are New Mexico, 11:50 p.m. You hard partying, boys. Texas, 11:30 p.m. Florida, 11:10 p.m. watching the sunset. Idaho, 11 p.m. Kentucky, 11 p.m. No excuse for you. Alaska, 10:40. Oklahoma, 10:30. Utah, 10:20. Virginia, 10:10. Hawaii, 9:50. Those are the only people that smoke later than us in Michigan. But check this out. New Hampshire, they light up at 9:40 p.m. Tennessee, 4:20 p.m. But Arkansas, 8 a.m. Who's sparking up at 8 a.m.? They're milking cows down there in Arkansas. That's the last story. It's Medical Cannabis News. I'm Rick Thompson. Thanks so much for listening. Have a good day.
Thanks, Rick. This is Charlie Strackbine again. I'd like to say something about the Monroe Street Fair. I can't let it go without saying that it's the largest totally free cannabis event east of the Mississippi, and it's only free because of these sponsors that